It is garden season, and I am so excited to share a brand new Creative Faith journal, and it is a garden journal with prompts in it. And there's also a printable version as well too. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing all about the garden journals and the coordinating printable, and I'm really excited for the garden season this year. And my garden journey began when we bought our house at the end of 2022. So spring of 2023, I had my first little garden, and what I did was I took it was 5 terracotta pots, and I planted, here you can see me with the 5 little pots, planted a few things, and my husband and I had a ton of fun trying things out, experimenting, growing, and it was just such a joy to just really have a lot of fun with it. So then in 2024, we really took it up a notch, and by we I mean my husband made some raised garden beds, and we set those up, and we have some arches that we did with hog fencing, as you can see here. And so we did a lot more gardening in 2024. It was a lot of work, but just so much fun. I get a lot of joy out of growing our own food and spending time outside with my husband, and it is just really, really enjoyable and a great way to have some healthy things that I'm growing and eating and sharing with others. So in 2023 and 2024, I used this journal. It is just a Docker journal that you can get on Amazon that I designed, and it says Hope Grows here. And I'll link this journal below if you want a Dockered journal version that's just blank inside, so this doesn't have any prompts or anything. And so that's what I used for 2 years. And then last year, I also used this garden binder that I made. So I have a printable called, I think it's called like Growing in Faith, or Growing, something about growing, but it has these little images I doodled for gardening. And so I'll link that printable down below if you want to check that out. It's more decorative printable, but in this binder, I have more, I don't know, I guess more functional things. This is more kind of documenting aesthetically with pictures and whatnot, but this I have like the actual little tags and information. And I even made this little chart that I need to go back through my photos to fill out, but this is what I did last year. And anyways, it made me want to make a garden journal that had prompts and charts within the journal. And so that's what I made to use for this year. So you can get these on Amazon. There is the large 8.5 by 11 size. There is an A5 size and a B6 size. There's not a traveler's notebook size because it has a bunch of charts in it, and I just couldn't figure out how to make these charts in such like a skinny format for a traveler's notebook. So that's why there's not a traveler's notebook size, but I am going to share with you what they look like on the inside. I love how the front and back cover turned out, just really cute and fun for the gardening season. And before I do a flip through, I also wanted to mention that I have a printable version as well too. So if you prefer printables, there is a printable garden journal, and I made 2 different options. So there's one option that is only the prompts. So if you wanted something that is not as expensive, I made 2 pages with just the prompts. So you can cut these out and glue them, tape them into your own journal. So you could get like a plain journal or a dot grid journal and put these at the top of each page if you want. So that is one of the printable options. And then the second printable is the complete garden journal. And it comes with the prompt page, but then it comes with two versions of the garden journal. There's a dot grid one, so if you like having the dot grid for, drawing boxes and writing on, there's that. And then there's also a blank version. So I just printed the dot grid version for in here, but you can see how I just made my own little garden journal in a binder, and it comes with a front and back cover as well. So that is an option for you if you want to do a printable version of the garden journal. And the great thing with printables is you can print them again and again for personal use. So I will have the big printable that comes with the prompts and a blank version and a dot grid version linked down below in Etsy. And then I also have just the prompts, and I'll link that down below on Etsy as well too. Okay, so let's do a flip through of what the inside looks like. Oh, and I also wanted to mention too, if you wanted to see a setup video of my garden journal from 2023 or 2024, I'll have both of those videos linked down below. And then I also have full flip through videos from 2023 and 2024 from my garden journal. So there's 4 different garden journal specific videos on my YouTube channel if you want to see more about garden journaling. So maybe I'll flip through the A5 size, and that's kind of a good medium size that fits nicely in the frame. And this is the one I already started, so it doesn't come with the tabs. I added those, but I do plan to do a garden journal setup video, but I'm not quite there yet in our garden planning. We're just getting started. But anyways, this is what the front and back cover look like. And then on the inside, it says garden journal, and it has a spot for the year. So you could use stickers or a pen or stamps to put the year down there. Then it has a spot for you to put your name and decorate if you want. And then there's a little note about from me to you about kind of gardening and my journey. And then I have QR codes for each of those 4 videos I just mentioned. So the setup and full flip throughs for each of those. So you can scan those and watch them on YouTube if you want more garden inspiration. So I set it up as in 3 different sections. So you have pre-garden planning, then you have garden season tracking and updates, and then lastly, end of season reflections. So these are the 3 sections and then the different prompted pages inside. So what I did was I put these Avery removable tabs. I love these things, and I put those to divide the 3 sections. And then I'll probably use a marker, a permanent marker, to write on them the name of those 3 sections. So each page has the prompt on the top, and then the prompt I put on 2 pages. So you can have two pages or a spread that you can use for documenting. So my favorite places to get seeds and plants. And then lists of seeds I have. So here is things I purchased and saved, seeds I saved, and then ones I purchased this year. So starting to kind of plan out, what do we have? What do we want to get? And we do a lot of things from starts from our friend's garden business. So that'll be fun to kind of plan that out with what she has too. We have a garden setup to-do list, a mood and vision board. I did that in here. I love going on Pinterest and finding pictures for inspiration, and it was really cool because a lot of these things we did end up doing. Like we had the pumpkins on the arch. Ours didn't get quite as tall, but we did that. We had a wall of sunflowers. we didn't get quite as many blueberries as they did there, but then we got lavender, and we have our little campfire outside. Anyways, so it's fun to kind of gather photos for inspiration for a little garden mood board. I always love starting projects with a prayer, including for the garden. So we have that. I love having spots for Bible verses about gardening and growing. So those were other spreads that I did in here. And I think I did one in here too. Maybe. Thought I did. Yep. So fun to have those. Spot for gardening quotes and songs. If you love like flowers and gardening and growing, you should listen to the song Flowers by, I think her name's Samantha. It is a beautiful, beautiful song. My husband told me about it, and we've been listening to it a lot. There's a good brainstorm, brain dump page. You can use the dot grid pages to do a garden layout. So we did that in here. We have our kind of garden map from what we did last year. And so I'll have to kind of figure out what our game plan is for this year. The spot for things that you need to purchase for the garden. There's also an expense tracker, important for keeping track of what you have been purchasing. Spot for gardening tips and garden books, gardening accounts, favorite plant combinations. And that's the end of section 1. So then section 2, we have garden season tracking and updates. So we have a spot of when planted, and then a spot for 2 updates. You could do like the first bloom or the first fruit or the first update about the plant. So there's 4 pages of that. You might not need all of those, but I was trying to kind of think of giving people enough space. There's also a pest tracker with solutions. So last year, what did we do in here? Here we found earwigs, aphids, and caterpillars. And so these are some different things that we tried that didn't work and some that did work. So I thought having it in a chart form would be helpful. I love growing herbs, and so I made a page for favorite herb and tea combinations from the garden. That was also inspired by this page. So I did a cucumber mint tea that was good, rose petals and chamomile, lavender and chamomile, dandelion root and lemon peel. So really fun. Here's some fun pictures. Really, really fun to have a tea that came from the garden, and I'm excited to hopefully try and grow some new herbs this year. Here we have pollinator and wildlife sightings. You could keep track of birds or insects or butterflies. You could print pictures. That's kind of a fun page. Fertilization log. So what you're doing to amend the soil or fertilize. A pruning and maintenance log. So this is important to keep up with what plants you're pruning. And then I have monthly, weekly garden updates, add pictures and notes. So I did enough pages. So last year what I did was I made these little pages. So I have one for June, July, August, and September. And so I think I started, so there's enough for March, April, May, June, July, August, September. October. So I made enough. That's how I plan to use them, but I made enough to do it kind of that way. Or you can use these really in any way you want, but I like printing pictures and just kind of journaling. It's kind of like a garden scrapbook. So then we get to section 3, which is end of season reflections. I might actually even add another one of these little tabs onto this area to kind of section that off too. Anyway, section 3, end of season. So I love making a list of projects completed from the year. So that was something I pulled a lot of these from ideas from what I did. So like in 2024, here's all the different things that we did in our garden and yard. So pretty amazing to have done all those different things. Lessons learned from the garden this year, future garden plans and ideas, plants I want to grow next time, before and after photos. There's also a harvest yield tracker, so you can keep track of how much of the different things you got from fruits and vegetables and herbs. Recipe and preservation ideas. You can document your favorite things and preservation methods, whether you freeze dry them or you can them or you dry them with dehydration or you put them in the freezer. So lots of different ways to preserve. That's something I definitely need to work on. And then a garden gift log. So I thought this would be fun. You can kind of keep track of who you gift things to, whether it's seeds or produce, things like that. It's always fun to gift things from the garden. So I did one chart and then one side blank. So if you wanted to put any pictures, you could. A prayer of gratitude for the growing season. And then there's some pages for additional notes. So that is what the garden journal looks like. And then the printable, you get all these same pages. So there's 3 different sections in it, just like in this journal. But I'm so excited for this upcoming garden season. It's going to be really, I don't know, rewarding, sweet. I love spending time outside. I love watching things grow. It is just amazing to see how God made all of the different things. Just, I don't know, how things grow and how you have to trust and wait and have patience and just so many spiritual lessons within it too. So also, if you love gardening, I made a whole bunch of garden vlogs last year. And I do still have like a bunch of footage from autumn from last year that I never put together. And so I might end up sharing an autumn from last year garden update, even though it's well past autumn, but might be good inspiration for you and for me that, this is what can happen if you start now, and just all the growth and abundance of produce that you can have in a few months' time. So let me know in the comments below, do you love gardening? I would highly encourage you, even if you live in an apartment or think you live somewhere where things can't grow, to at least get like a little thing of basil or a little thing of lavender and put it on in a window somewhere in your house and at least grow one thing. And it is so satisfying to make tea or use it in a recipe with the things that you've grown. And maybe you'll get the gardening itch and it will spiral like it has for my husband and I. But I think it is so healthy to grow our own food. I think that's what God intended, right? And I think God's going to teach you so much through having your own garden. So be sure to check out the garden journals on Amazon. The links are down below. Those are Amazon affiliate links, which means I get a small commission if you use that link to make a purchase. And then you can also check out the printable versions in the Creative Faith Etsy shop. And then check out the various videos I mentioned too if you want more garden journal inspiration. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and the bell notification so you don't miss out on any Creative Faith videos. And I'll see you next time. Bye, friend!